The doorbell rang and I answered the intercom to find Nana, my brother's wife, waving at me. When I opened the door, Nana offered me a souvenir and then thanked me. "Thank you so much, Maria. Has Isabella been a good girl?" Nana went to the living room. She looked around, saying something like, "You still live in a nice room, don't you?" and put the bag in her hand on the sofa. "Hey, where's Isabella? Is she out with friends or something? It's Sunday, no school." "Wait a minute, Nana, what are you talking about? Isabella isn't at my house, is she?" Nana tilted her head slightly and let out a what? After a couple of seconds pause, Nana gives a drawn-out smile. "I thought I asked you to take care of my daughter while I was away on a business trip overseas." I told her that she had indeed asked me to take care of Isabella, but I was often away from home on business and I had refused. Nana then showed me the screen of her phone. The contents of the message are written as follows.
"I'm having a great time at Aunt Maria's."
I stared impatiently at the screen of her phone. A week had already passed since the date and time of Isabella's text message. Where had Isabella been living while her parents were gone? Lying about staying at my house? I can only imagine how bad it would be if a girl of only 14 years old had to lie to get a week of free time. Oh my goodness. Maria, where is she? Neither Nana nor I had any idea at the time that this would end so unexpectedly. My name is Maria. I turned 40 years old this year and I don't have a story to tell about my fling. I am proud of the fact that I can live in a high-rise apartment in the city center, and I am successful at my job to a certain extent. After taking a bath, I touched my skin in front of the mirror and found that my skin was a little rough. I slept late last night. Perhaps it's because I live a life where day and night don't seem to matter, but I often get rough skin. Still, I like my current life, which is fulfilling. Without warning, my phone alerted me to an incoming call from someone. The caller was my younger brother, Lucas, and my junior high school classmate, Nana. Nana had always been fond of me, casually calling me Sis Maria. She became my real sister after she married Lucas, so life is really interesting. Hello? What's going on? Maria, listen to me. Lucas. Nana started talking bad about Lucas to me right out of the gate. Another marital quarrel? But Nana's tone of voice is a little joyful, and she is often totally nonplussed by the time we finish talking. So, Lucas says that the apples and grapes we buy at the supermarket don't need to be put in the fridge. Well, they are sold at room temperature in the store. But they definitely taste better chilled, don't they? He complains that it makes the fridge too small. I couldn't help but giggle. I thought that they were fighting about something too trivial. After complaining about the fridge matter at one point, she lowered her voice a little and began to speak. You know, Isabella has been asking us a lot lately to hang out with her. Until recently, she was just hanging out with her friends. Well, as parents, it must be nice to have your kids play with you forever, isn't it? Nana Lucas seems happy. There was a time when she didn't want to walk with him. Whatever the case may be, the younger brother and his wife seem to be getting along well. Nana started giggling and I asked her what was up, and her voice bubbled a little happily. Maybe it's because Lucas has been spending more time with my daughter, and he's become a little more fashionable. Sometimes he wears perfume, and I guess my daughter has a big influence on him. My image of Lucas was a bit disheveled and unfashionable in general, but I thought sullenly that a lot of effort is required for him to be loved by his lovely only daughter. Satisfied that I had listened to her, Nana thanked me and hung up the phone. After a while, I received an email from Lucas.
Apples and grapes, do you keep them in the fridge?
I read that email and replied. I rarely buy fruit these days, so I don't know. I took an energy drink from the fridge, drank it, and then crawled into bed. I was happy that I was able to get along with both my brother and my brother's wife. However, I felt a bit distanced from Isabella, my brother and his wife's daughter. Isabella is about to take her high school entrance exams. She is in the sensitive period. She is an adolescent. I am sure I thought so. As a young girl, Isabella was cute and adorable, as she was my only niece. When she gazed at me with her big, clingy eyes, it was as if she was grabbing my heart. I sent her a variety of clothes and toys, much to the consternation of my brother and his wife. Isabella was very fond of me, but come to think of it, she seemed to have been somewhat listless for the past 6 months or so. Nana would sometimes treat me to dinner, perhaps because she knew I was single and had such a terrible diet. To be honest, I never thought about the healthy balance of my meals. I just wanted to be able to eat quickly and be full. Nana always lightly scolded me, saying that I shouldn't think like that, and made me a salad with a lot of vegetables. I was a little tired, but I ate my salad and lamented, I can't believe I'm eating so many vegetables. I feel like a horse or a goat. Nana and Lucas laughed. Only Isabella, who was at the same table as me, looked down in boredom as she took her salad into her small mouth. I fell asleep, remembering many things like that in my mind. I sincerely hope to be friends with my kind brother and his family forever. One day, while I was pondering over a map of the city center area spread out on the table, I received a call from Nana. I thought for a moment and decided to ignore the call, but then she kept calling back and I thought it might be urgent, so I picked up the phone. Hey, what's up? Maria, I'm really sorry, but I need to ask you a favor. Nana's slightly sweet voice made me cringe. When I asked her about it, she told me that she was going on an overseas business trip starting next week. She asked me to take care of Isabella during her business trip. She doesn't want to turn down an overseas business trip, using Isabella as an excuse. If Lucas is there, it's not a problem, is it? Lucas has been working away from home since last month. So if I go on a business trip, Isabella will be all alone. From the other end of the phone, I heard Nana's voice, seriously troubled. I pondered a bit as I looked down at the map I had unfolded. There were several important documents in the room that I would use for work, and even though she was a relative of mine, I didn't want her to go in and out of the room too often. Besides, I was going to be busy moving around. I'm sorry. I still can't do it. I'm going to be spending less time at home from now on. Isabella is a child who can do well on her own. But I would feel safer if an adult was with her at night. I wanted to decline her gently, but Nana was more persistent than I had expected. I opened my schedule book and told her again that it would be difficult for me to take care of Isabella, no matter how I thought about it, and that I would not be able to do so. I see. My business trip is next week, so can I contact you again? Let me know if you think you could adjust your schedule. As Nana, I wanted to help somehow, thinking that she was desperate not to make her daughter Isabella feel lonely. But taking cheap shots would only cause hardship. As I was determined not to take care of Isabella, I received a text message on my phone that began, "This is Isabella." The text was very polite and simple, beginning with it.
My mom is worried about me, but I am fine on my own. I will let my mom know.
When the day approached that Nana was going on an overseas business trip, I did not hear from her again. I was relieved to know that she had found a satisfactory answer. A week later, I was cleaning the house. I put a number of books back on the bookshelves, clearing away the maps and papers spread out on the table. I organized the data on my computer and wiped up stubborn stains in the kitchen. I was extremely tired from work this week. But I somehow felt restless unless I was physically active, so I started to carefully clean my room, something I usually don't do very often. Recently, there was a situation that made me think that I am not very good at getting the point across. When I was working on several tasks at the same time, I got confused in my mind. Cleaning is important to organize my mind. Before looking through the materials my business associates had prepared for me, I was determined to thoroughly clean the area within my reach. Ding dong. The doorbell rang and I answered it on the intercom to find Nana waving at me. When I opened the door, Nana offered me a souvenir and then thanked me. "Thank you so much, Maria. Did Isabella behave herself?" Nana went to the living room. She looked around, saying, "You still live in a nice room, don't you?" and put the bag in her hand on the sofa. "Hey, where's Isabella? Is she out with friends or something? It's Sunday, no school." "Wait a minute, Nana, what are you talking about? Isabella isn't at my house, is she?" Nana tilted her head a little and let out a what? A pause of a few seconds. "I thought I asked you to take care of my daughter while I was on an overseas business trip." She gave a drawn-out smile. "Sure, there was an offer for me to take care of Isabella, but I was away from home a lot for work and I told you no." I told her, and Nana showed me the screen of her phone. In it, Isabella says to her mom, "I am having a great time at Aunt Maria's," is written on the screen. I stare impatiently at the screen of her phone. It had already been a week since Isabella's email was sent. Where had Isabella been living while her parents were away, lying about staying at my house? I can only imagine how bad it must have been for a 14-year-old girl to lie to get a week of free time. That is probably true for her mom, Nana, as well. She called Isabella impatiently, but she could not get through. "Oh my goodness, Maria, I wonder where she is." "Calm down, Nana, let's go back to the house first. Maybe she was living at home as usual, you know? Maybe she felt more at home alone than with me, her aunt?" I felt a little sad saying it myself, but well, I guess that's the most likely answer. "Anyway, why don't you go back home once?" I suggested, and Nana asked me to follow along. I have a bad feeling about this. She's never been the kind of girl to lie like that before. I checked the time on my watch. There was someone I had to meet in the evening for a work-related matter. Nana was giving me a pleading look. I was curious as to why Isabella had told such a lie and worried that she might be involved in something bad, so I decided to go with her. I packed up my work papers and drove to my brother and sister-in-law's house in my car. I had heard that they had moved a few years ago, but this was the first time I had visited their home. In the car, Nana called and texted Isabella several times, but there was no answer. I wonder why she doesn't answer me. Nana guided me for a 20-minute drive and we entered a residential area a short distance away from the city. I slowed the car down and drove through a familiar narrow residential area, feeling a strange pang in my chest. There were 2 parking spaces at my brother and sister-in-law's house, and I parked next to the white car that Lucas was using for work. I shut off the engine and Nana quickly got out of the car and started to look for the keys from her bag in front of the front door of her house. I looked up at my brother and sister-in-law's house and had a strange sense of déjà vu. I feel like I've seen this house somewhere before. Oh, this house. Maria, what are you doing? Please come quickly. I hurried to the front door as soon as Nana rushed me and took my bag out of the car. Nana unlocked the door and entered the house, and Lucas greeted me at the door.
Oh, Maria, what's going on? All of a sudden.
Lucas, why are you at home? I thought you were working alone.
Well, I am, but I wanted to see Isabella's face once in a while.
Lucas, unable to fix his gaze, moved in a way that was so unnatural. I could tell right away that he was trying to avoid eye contact with me, but I was more concerned about Isabella, who was looking down behind Lucas, as if hiding. Nana took Isabella into the living room and we faced each other across the table. I put my bag down a short distance away and checked my phone. There were a few incoming calls on my phone, and they were from colleagues I work with. Isabella, why did you lie to me about staying at your aunt's house? Nana chastised Isabella with a stern expression that I had not seen much of before. Isabella, with her mouth stretched right across her mouth and her head in a stony position, continued to bow her head as she stared at her lap. For a while, Nana seemed to be waiting for Isabella to open her mouth, but then, as if giving up, she brushed her hair back with her hand and let out a small sigh. Lately, Isabella has been asking us to go out together. We've been going to amusement parks and movies a lot. I thought our feelings were getting through to each other. Hearing these words, Isabella looked up with a huff and immediately looked at me. Isabella then averted her gaze again, but her action caused me to tilt my head slightly. I wonder what it was, what she was doing now. It was like she was trying to tell her mom something, but stopped telling her because I was there. When was Lucas home in the first place? If you were coming home, you would have contacted me.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's just.
What? Are you hiding something? Something's not right? Nana stuffed up with Lucas, who was clearly acting strangely and was in a bit of a bad mood. I was concerned about Isabella's somewhat sad expression. What? Are you hiding? I casually looked around. A pachira, a houseplant, was displayed in the corner of the room, and a faint light reflected at the base of the plant. A hidden camera? I shifted my gaze toward Isabella. Isabella seemed to notice by the movement of my gaze that I had noticed the presence of a camera and looked at me with a slightly surprised face. Lucas, who was being persistently interrogated by Nana, eventually became a little angry and the two of them began to fight. Isabella got up and quietly went upstairs, giving me a look. I followed her into her room and sat down on the bed as she suggested. Did you put a camera in the base of the pachira?
Well, you've always been very insightful. You know that?
Isabella sat deeply in the chair in front of the desk, her shoulders slumped. Downstairs, I could hear Lucas and Nana arguing heatedly. I remained in as natural a position as possible and waited for Isabella to start talking about something, without saying anything in particular. I was not averse to just waiting like this. Eventually, Isabella began to speak, as if in contemplation.
I saw my dad and a woman I don't know walking down the street, really by accident. They looked like they were having a great time.
Does that mean they're having an affair? Isabella gave a small nod.
I didn't think it was particularly strange at the time. It could have been that she was just walking around with someone from work. But I saw him a few times after that.
Isabella's shoulders slumped sadly. My heart ached when I thought about how Isabella felt when she saw Lucas walking happily with a young woman she didn't know.
Some weeks my mom has to work on Saturdays or Sundays. On those days, I would often play at my friend's house and my dad would go out by himself.
What? Wait a minute. No way.
I was afraid that my dad was bringing a fling into the house on a day when no one was home.
Isabella realized the weight of her words and looked as if she was about to burst into tears. I wanted to stop him, I heard a gravelly voice. Isabella said, I wanted to stop my dad before my mom found out he was cheating on her, before the two of them started to get along bad. At any cost. She hoped that the hidden camera she had planted in the Pachira would serve as evidence when Lucas brought the cheating partner in while no one was home.
But in the end, I couldn't get any evidence of my dad bringing someone into the house. I swear my dad is cheating on me.
At that moment, my phone vibrated. I told Isabella to wait and checked my phone to see that it was a text message from a work colleague. I took a glance at the content, looked at the attached picture, and quickly put my phone back in my pocket. Is your work okay? Isabella asked worriedly, but I only smiled a little. I was deeply relieved that the hidden camera did not capture Lucas bringing a woman into the house. How hurt Isabella, my brother's daughter, would be if she were shown such an image. However, she seemed to feel a little differently and made a clenched fist on her knees.
I have searched all over the house for evidence of an affair, but there is no conclusive proof. But I'm absolutely sure he's cheating on his wife. A woman's intuition, I guess.
Isabella then laughed to herself. Isabella, who is in charge of the laundry, has noticed that Lucas' underwear and socks have been getting new ones more frequently since about 6 months ago. She noticed that his underwear, which used to be solid colors, were now strangely brightly colored. The deciding factor, it seems, was perfume.
My dad was using perfume. It didn't suit him at all. The kind of perfume young boys use.
Isabella's face contorted and she looked very uncomfortable. In her mind, Isabella was surely convinced that Lucas was cheating on his wife, and she planned to find solid proof while Nana was on an overseas business trip. She searched frantically through the empty house and found Lucas' old computer. As she went through the computer, she found pictures and videos of Lucas having fun with a woman she did not know.
At least, my dad was cheating on my mom, even before he bought the new computer.
It's more than sadness or frustration. Or any of those feelings. Isabella broke off there and closed her eyes.
First, I had to protect my mom. That's what I thought.
Today, Isabella called Lucas to her house and pressed him to stop the affair. Lucas told her that the photos and videos on his computer were not conclusive evidence. Lucas told her that the photos and videos on his computer were not conclusive evidence.
I want to stop my dad from cheating on my mom without her noticing. Is that kind of thing impossible?
Then Isabella let a large tear fall from her eye. So, this was the reason why Nana had told me that Isabella had been spending more time with the whole family lately. She thought that if the family spent more time together, her father would see his unfaithful partner less often and put the family first. If Nana found out about the affair, she might end up divorcing him. Before that happens, let's stop her father from cheating on Nana and create a happy family once again. Knowing that this was too heavy a feeling for a girl of only 14 years old to carry, I quietly grabbed the phone in my pocket. I gently hugged Isabella's shoulder. Isabella was shaking slightly and crying. I don't think it was very nice of you to lie about being at my house and somehow trying to find evidence of your father's affair. Even Nana was very worried about you.
Well, I'm sorry.
Besides, if Lucas is having an affair, Nana needs to know about it and stop him. If he continues in this state, he will be cheating on Nana forever. I gave Isabella, whose expression remained uneasy, a clumsy wink and left the room. When I went downstairs, the two were still arguing. I silently held out the screen of my phone in front of Lucas. Lucas, who had been arguing so intensely with Nana, was crestfallen and stopped moving as he stood. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to talk to you as my business from here on out, not as your sister.
Wait a minute, what the heck is that picture?
As you probably know, Lucas, I do some detective work. Recently, a man asked me to investigate his wife's affair. I held out the file in my bag in front of Lucas. It was a colleague of mine who put the material together, but I just now received some data on my phone and it made sense. I had a bit of a bad feeling when I first arrived at the house. The data reported by my business associates indicated that the wife under investigation may have been seeing a particular man. The house where this particular man lived was strangely similar to Lucas' house. Looking back at the photos and other information in the file, I found that the man was Lucas. I was working on several cases at the same time, and I did not notice it, but it was Lucas whom my detective partner had been inquiring about, which was a very pathetic story. Lucas, don't try to talk your way out of it. I'm a professional. I have evidence to the contrary. I lightly tapped the stack of documents, and Lucas looked at Nana with a frightened look on his face. After that, Nana was furious with him, and she kept getting angry at him beyond expression. In the end, Lucas was deeply sorry for this incident and cut ties with the cheating partner. A settlement was reached with the man on the other side who had asked me to investigate the affair. I had warned him that it was a double affair and that there would be a lot of trouble if they got into trouble with each other, so I was relieved that the worst-case scenario, such as suing Lucas, did not happen. Isabella's desperate scramble to resolve the matter and keep it a secret from Nana did not come to pass. I had to strongly persuade Nana on this point. You know, why Isabella was so desperate to stop Lucas from cheating on you, think about it. I understand how you feel, but think about Isabella's feelings too. That's about all I can say to Nana. The rest was between the couple. There was no way I, as their child, much less a relative, could know what would happen. Nana seemed to have understood Isabella's strong wish. I don't want my parents to get divorced. And she forgave Lucas. Instead, after this incident, Lucas was no match for Nana. Whenever they argued about small things, Lucas would always give in. Keep apples and grapes in the fridge. When I went to Lucas' house to visit him for the first time in a while, Nana was angry with Lucas in a stern tone. Apparently, he had not put the fruits he had bought in the fridge. I chuckled and took one look at the pachira in the corner of the room. The hidden camera was no longer there, and Isabella was sitting on the couch happily watching her parents. Lucas is well manipulated, I laughed.
Damn, it wouldn't make a difference either way if you didn't chill.
No, that is not true, okay? Fruits that contain fructose increase in sugar content as they cool. It's not just my imagination, they taste many times better. I looked it up when I heard that the two of them had fought before over the issue of what to put in the fridge or not. I have always had a personality that I can't help but look into things that interest me. If I find something strange, I will investigate it thoroughly. I have always had the personality to investigate anything that caught my attention, which is why I am now able to make detective work my profession.
Please let me know if there is any suspicious activity so that my dad will never cheat on my mom again. Detective Aunt Maria.
Isabella said with a mischievous smile as she hugged me. Lucas laughed and scratched his head, and Nana patted Lucas on the head with a straight face. I'll be watching Lucas from time to time to make sure he doesn't do anything bad, I said jokingly, but Lucas gulped and swallowed his spit. Surely this family is all right now, I think to myself. What did you think of this story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.